Hello, everybody, and welcome to another couch chit chat episode.
Yeah,
That's definitely going to be the name for this forever. Probably will because we can't come up with anything good.
it's a great start.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it is. This is just I'd like to talk into the mic like really close.
Give the folks at home a little what they want, little ear candy.
Oh yeah.
Tickle their inner ears.
Yes, I am sick, but a little bit sick. But now it's the weekend and recording this, so I can just go to bed when we're done.
Yes, this is the Echo Chamber podcast because we're just gonna talk about some stuff.
Because we just want to record and with 7 subscribers or whatever we have now.
All people we know, but that's okay.
That's fine.
Bradley, you gotta look to the future.
I know. I'm just saying right now. It's just can we maintain a consistent schedule?
It's just shouting into the void. Yeah, it's more about a consistent schedule than anything else.
Oh, I understand. And if Don was here, what?
I want to hear.
All right. And if the Donald was here, we may actually be able to do like a 3-way conversation.
I've always wanted to do a 3-way.
Oh yeah.
Don, come back so we can do a 3-way. We miss you.
Yes. Anyways, the thought was to talk about DC today, as there's nothing really particular to talk about. I mean, maybe meander and just let the conversation go where it goes. I want to adjust my mic slightly so I don't. Is it there? Much better.
All right.
So, I guess to kick started off, neither of us have read a whole ton of DC comics, though I've read more DC than I have Marvel. I guess it's all been Batman mostly that I've read.
I was gonna say, really, I've read a few nailed it.
Yeah.
I read a few Batman comics, but not
Yes.
much else.
I've read all Batman comics for DC, and then I've read Civil War, the first Civil War comic.
What do you mean you've read all Batman comics for DC?
All of the comics that I've read that are published by DC have been Batman comics.
Okay, I thought you. Okay.
No, I've not read every single Batman comic there is. So I've read Civil War, the first one, not the one with Captain Marvel, and then I've read Age of Ultron.
I tried to read the original Civil War, and I couldn't get into it. It was weird.
It was weird.
I've never really gotten into comics. I don't have any problem with them, but I think it's kind of like anime. It just doesn't really appeal to me.
Yeah.
Like, there are ones that are really good that I've enjoyed, but it's not like I love comics or I love anime. It's I love this specific thing,
No,
and it just happens to be coincidentally.
And that's what I would do is, like, the comics that I own are all ones that I like, and the ones I want to read are all, like, classic. Like, these are, like, the good ones.
Mm-hmm. Because I've read, like, Killing Joke.
Which is, again, a classic one. I've read The Dark Knight Returns.
Yep, I've read that as well. That was pretty good.
I have not read the second one. And the third one just is out recently.
Wait, there's 3?
Yes. The third one is just out recently. Because, like, The Dark Knight Returns, The Dark Knight Strikes Again, and The Dark Knight, The Superior Race, or something like that. I will Google it, because we allow Google, right?
No.
Okay.
I'm just joking. I don't care.
Well, it's something really weird.
Bradley,
like,
we have no rules.
It is something like Dark Knight, The Superior Race.
All right. Yeah, so I'm assuming I've only read the first one then, right?
Yes, you have.
What happens in the second one?
I haven't read it. I own it. I haven't read it.
Spoilers for whatever. Actually, never mind. Bradley doesn't know anything about it.
I do not know.
No, I enjoyed the first one, though. It was good.
Right.
I mean, it's not my favorite Batman property because it's a little futuristic. I'm not a big fan of futuristic Batman.
Yeah.
What other comics have I read? I think I read Hush. I read Hush.
Oh, did you read Hush? I haven't read Hush.
It's been a while since I've read any of these.
Yes, it is. The Dark Knight 3, The Master Race.
Interesting.
So I was very close. If not, I forgot what I said originally.
Superior Race.
So close. The people on the Weekly Planet, they were talking about it. because Nick Mason almost got it for himself for Christmas, and then Mr. Sunday Movies got it for Nick Mason for Christmas.
Oh, all right.
That was an endorsement for the Weekly
I was gonna
Planet.
say a little name drop in there. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe.
Did I tell you the dream I had where I was in Australia and I just like hung out with Mr. Sunday Movies?
Yeah, you did tell me about that. Yeah.
I was just like at a bar, like trying to follow him around. He was really nice about it, but he was just so busy, and I felt like in my dream, like, hey, look, there's a mountain. I don't see mountains where I come from, and then I don't even know if there's mountains in Australia, but there was a big one
It's
when
pretty
we landed.
flat, isn't it?
Yeah. But in my dream, there was a big one right when we landed, and I meet up with him, and we're just like walking around bars. And it's like an old-timey Western bar, so there's like the swinging gates, and it's desert everywhere because...
Is there some piano music playing?
Oh, yeah, there was. And I'm just like... And he's just wandering around meeting people. I'm just like hanging out with him and just like hanging out. And I feel bad because he's busy doing stuff because he lives there and has a life there. And I'm just like, I'm here to tour. And it was just
Interesting.
really, yes.
You have way happier dreams than I do.
Most of mine are if I'm awake. Though, I mean... my dreams are just weird, and I think like based on like the weirdness, more sexual content would be in my dreams, but there is absolutely none.
0%.
Like 0 of my dreams have any sort of like sexual content at all. Even like PG-13 stuff is not in it.
Oh wow, Bradley's abstaining.
I am.
Bradley's subconscious is good Christian boy.
Yes, but instead we fight Cthulhu and
That's way better though.
It
And meet Bionicles.
yes, and meet Bionicles and the soul and the source of their personality.
You should tell that story if you remember any more details, because it was like a whole.
Yes.
Let's talk about dreams.
Yes. So in my dream, I'm swimming in a lake with at my grandparents' house. They own not a cabin. It's actually a house on a lake, right? So we're swimming around, and all of a sudden, the darkness in the horizon, out of the distance, is coming, and we're swimming and realize there's tentacles in the water, which obviously the lake is not big enough for, but it doesn't matter.
A crack opened up
Yes.
in the Earth's crust.
Yes,
let
and
out.
it is somehow we know it like the Cthulhu is coming, and so we all boat back to home and just like fight our way from like the lake side of my grandparents' property all the way up to the front, and like I'm crawling on roofs and stuff, just like fighting off creatures. I think there were zombies. I don't remember. And so then we, me and my brothers, drive off like for about 5 minutes, and then we stop at the gas station to get snacks for the road.
All right.
Yes, because we're like, we're gonna need to drive, and
Thinking ahead.
Yes, thinking ahead. We're gonna be a long ways, so we just like stop and get snacks while Cthulhu and zombies are coming after us. Anyways, so then we drive for a while and just like cut to the next scene in my dream, right? And we are getting ready to launch a spaceship.
Start Act 2.
Yes. Start Act 2. So we're in the spaceship, and we take off, and it's just like a little one on the outside, just like the most classic toy like spaceship, where it's just like the weird football kind of shape with the fins on the end.
All right.
Super cheap looking. Right?
Didn't have the budget for.
Yes, my
for
brain didn't
lasers.
have the CG budget available.
There was too many resources.
Yes, in the rest of this. So we go for a while. There's nothing really interesting that happens until we get to the edge of the galaxy, which is like a bubble. Like the entire, there's a bubble.
Bum, 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 bum.
Yes. And so the entire galaxy is surrounded in a bubble, which may be because like in Star Trek there is some sort of like energy field around the galaxy. If I remember correctly.
I know nothing about Star Trek.
Yes, I know that. So I'm thinking.
I know you're aware, but
I like to try to figure out where my dreams are pulling things from because
Sure.
it's pretty wonky sometimes. So, anyways, we like in the dream like slowly push through the bubble and just bloop. Now we're on the other side, now to the galaxy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we go for a little bit longer.
Was this a thing that no one could do before? Like, were you aware of the fact that this was like a big scientific achievement in your dream? Or was this just a normal thing?
It was like kind of like in like those hidden society worlds where like the technology's kind of been there, but like now we need to do it to stop the monster, and so like now it's
Sure. All right.
has to come to light. So anyways, we're going along for a while and we see a meteor, right? And so we land on this meteor. And so when we get out of the spaceship and out of the hatch, we will end up on the Meteor, but also in my other grandparents' kitchen, and upstairs of their house, which has the kitchen upstairs, which is weird.
Is this like a Spy Kids case?
Yes.
They're like secret spies?
Yes, and we're also shrunk at the beginning. We're just like tiny.
Is that an effect of going through the bubble?
No, I think it's just like the house shrunk us. I don't know what it was. But anyways, so walk around. We find some Cheez-Its and eat it.
So the house is giant, or
We're small in the house.
so the house is normal size, but you're small.
The room's in the house. Yeah, because it's only the interior of the house. So we're
Okay.
small inside of it, right, for a while.
Fascinating.
So we go into the kitchen, and it's like small. I remember eating Cheez-Its, and then so it's like we're in the hallway, go into the kitchen, and we come back out. We're just normal size, and it doesn't matter because it's a dream.
All right.
Right.
I'm just surprised that you remember this many details about it,
Yes.
because I don't think you told me about that originally. I don't think you mentioned a shrinking.
I think
effect.
I like held off because it was just gonna like derail from the main plot.
Right. Don't want to get too convoluted.
Yes. So, anyways, at that point, we walk out of the kitchen and take a right, and there's another room. There's a small room, and then another doorway going into a slightly larger room. About actually this size this first room is, right? And there's like little like wells, like mini well, like a well you'd see like an English cabin, right?
Okay.
Or English wilderness, but it's a bit more. It's about that shape, but it's a bit more like jagged edges, right?
Mhm.
And so there's like light coming up from all of them, right? And there's multiple of them, right? And so after a while,
You should start a religion.
yes. And so after a while, I realized that there's also Bionicles, just like next to all of these wells, right? And and if you don't know what Bionicles are, they're Lego's action figure, basically action figure that Lego ran from 2000 to 2010, which were
They were great.
they were my favorite toy growing up as a child. I have so many and still have a lot of them. But anyways, these wells I discovered, I somehow discovered the inherent knowledge. I don't remember how I figured it out, but these wells were the source of the Bionicles' personality and power. And so we were able to like communicate with the Bionicles somehow, which then Act 3 takes us back to Earth. That's just like it. We just like discover it and we kind of leave. So now we're back on Earth, back at my grandparents' lake on the dock this time, right? And I am talking with episode 3, Anakin Skywalker.
So specific.
Yes. And this is right at the turn of the Empire, and he...
Emo phase.
Yes, emo phase. And we're looking... I remember, like a diagram in my entire field of view, looking at, like, a seat of the Senate houses, right? So it's just, like this political faction is here, in red, blue, whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so in this diagram, the red, which is the bad guys, the Sith, is slowly creeping over the entire thing, right?
Okay.
Because Anakin betrayed Palpatine and took over as Emperor. But because of that, it caused a time dilation, causing that Anakin to disappear because that's how time travel works. And a younger Anakin that was nice, like, shows up in his place.
Interesting.
And then the whole episodes 4, 5, and 6 then of Star Wars just don't happen and he's just like, hey, and then I just hang out with Anakin for the rest of the dream at my grandparents' lake.
So you never beat Cthulhu?
I mean, it was gone. Like, I think the Anakin's evil empire got him or something. But it just like kind of ended.
Like how you just like wrote it out of your own story.
Yeah. Yes. And so that is probably one of my more wild dreams. I also have had a Taken-esque dream where it's just like that gritty real world action.
That's what a lot of mine are. They're like really, really dark.
Yes.
And I'm a little concerned about that. Or they're about like, I think I told you before, I've mentioned that. A lot of them are like home invasions where I get murdered in my sleep.
Yes. But my interesting one about this Taken one, and why I bring it up in the first place, is like literally a year later I had a sequel to it. And I don't remember like either of the dreams very much, but I just remember that I had a sequel to my dream like a year later. Not the one I had. I fought down 3 blocks of the street, like as Punisher. Like it took me like literally an hour to move 3 blocks, and I was just murdering people, breaking skulls, and just machine gunning things. the entire time, just to get to my house.
Wow.
But there was also that time with the deer.
Oh yeah, that one's freaking weird. Not that none of these other ones have been weird.
Where there's this pale deer wearing Ugg boots. It's a male deer, so it has antlers, and somehow it gets into the entryway of my parents' house, which is very small, probably half of the studio.
It's tiny.
This is where all the shoes and stuff go. But I am like, we're gonna get these boots off. That's what mattered to me. So I grabbed
The source of all evil.
Yes.
you must take away its power.
So I grabbed this pale deer, this pale buck wearing antlers, wearing Ugg boots by the antlers, and just like ride it around trying to wrestle these Ugg boots off this deer, and just like I couldn't do it, and no one was willing to help me with it.
Those are the worst. Those are so frustrating in your dream when you're trying to accomplish something, and either it's usually not people trying to stop you. It's usually just people doing nothing to help you. And it's just like this impossible task. And you're like, it would be done in 5 minutes if somebody just lended a hand.
Yeah.
But nobody will help you. Everyone just stands there and stares at you.
Yep.
It's so frustrating. What's even worse, though, is when you wake up and you think it's real. Those are the worst.
Well, those drills, my dreams are at least wild enough that I usually don't have to like, it's real.
Mm-hmm.
The things that I wake up thinking real is like, oh, I have something. In one of my dreams, I had an appointment at 11:30. Woke up thinking I had to, and I did not have anything at 11:30. I like asked my parents multiple times, check schedules. I just did not have anything, but I felt like I did. It was very frustrating.
It's usually mine always wear off after like a couple minutes.
Well, I inceptioned myself.
Maybe you're still in the dream,
yeah,
Bradley.
Maybe. I've had dreams within dreams before. Have you had those?
I don't think so. You dream a lot more vividly than anybody I know. Like we should do a dream report every week. No, I'm just kidding. But
I go in swings where I dream a lot and then not at all. Yeah, because I was in like I don't remember either of them was. I remember waking up in like a fairy forest, like a Candyland forest, right? And like that was still the dream. And then I don't remember what happened, but then I woke up again and I'm like, I just had a dream within a dream.
Wow.
Nice. I've also had lucid dreams a couple of times. And that one's frustrating because that one I dreamt that I was in my room and just woke up.
Oh.
I dreamt that I woke up and checked the clocks, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I checked the clocks, my watch, the clock in my room, and I walk up to the kitchen to check the microwave. And apparently you're not supposed to be able to read watch faces.
Yeah.
Is what I've heard. I mean, I don't know if
time's supposed to basically, not function properly.
Is it time or is it the reading of watch faces?
I guess are you... What I was saying is like analog and digital. I don't know if it's just analog or if it's...
Because these were all digital. But
so digital doesn't make sense either?
I don't know. I read the digital clocks and knew what they said.
Okay.
But they all said very different times. So that's what I'm asking.
So I guess, that probably still... I don't know. I don't know that I think once I thought I lucid dreamed, but I don't really... You remember your dreams a lot better.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to blank on a couple now.
Well, the fact that you remember like 3 of them really well is
and there's
impressive.
one where I was at... I remember just like, again, themes. Where I was at my... family reunion and just like this giant like Victorian era England mansion was just there, and it's like in a campground, like, and then Stitch from Lilo and Stitch was also there, and Disney's Pocahontas. So it's a mansion, Stitch, Pocahontas. And
Disney copyright struck your dream. They're gonna copyright strike this video, Bradley.
And they just were there in my dream. At my family reunion, and no one was there.
That was it?
My family wasn't there. It was just them.
It was just you, Stitch, and Pocahontas.
Yes, Disney's Pocahontas, animated and both animated in their correct styles.
All right.
I also did not believe these were a thing, but the underwear dreams.
I've never had an underwear dream.
I didn't.
Well, see, now I can't ever remember these things. I've had like humiliation dreams before, but not specifically underwear. I don't think
I've had underwear dreams. I think it was like 17 or 18 when I first started having. I had like 3 in a row, like not 3 days in a row, but it was like within a short time span I had like 3.
You're trying to work through some things.
I guess so. Because I also was in these dreams, just wearing tighty whities. Like it was so it's not. I don't wear tighty whities, internet. and Jordan.
All right.
But anyways, in the dream, like I didn't want to be wearing the tighty whities and like be in my underwear because I was out in public, obviously, right? But I was still like totally playing it like this is a fashion statement.
Yeah, I remember this one.
And I'm gonna own it and just be chill about it. And I was just uncomfortable the whole time. And then there's also the falling dream, which I used to get, now I don't get anymore.
I had those for a while after my parents moved. We moved, and then for like a year I would get them off and on. Mm-hmm. And now I don't get them anymore, but it was enough that I noticed a pattern that within like a 6-month period I had a lot of them.
Oh,
and then they just kind of stopped. So I don't know,
getting used to them because you would never move before.
I guess.
I mean, maybe it triggered it. I mean,
and I can't remember if they ever happened before we moved. Yeah, because we moved when I was 18, so pretty much my entire life was there. But yeah, it was weird, and then they just kind of stopped. So
yeah, and
they didn't happen again when I moved to where I am now.
But but you also moved back.
Fair enough, but
yes, and then
I hate those. Those are
because then you're like, always like wake up.
Well, then you're awake because you just felt like you were falling,
yes.
and you have adrenaline pumping through your system.
Because I still like all these years later, because I haven't had them since before I was 10, so it's been a long time.
Oh wow.
And I always remember black sky, no like color
in
the sky.
Yeah.
But the building is also black, just with like gleam, like you can see like where there's like, because it's like all glass building, so it's all black. And you can see like some of like the runners between the glass frames have some like orange and blue and green lighting hitting them.
Oh, interesting.
And so I'm falling next to the building, and just falling like forever.
Mine were always just pitch black.
No, I had
like there was only the feeling of falling, but like the everything that was surrounding me was just black. Like I assume it was like a tunnel or something.
Yeah. I was almost.
There was no detail. It was just black.
No, I had like I remember the building like falling next to the building. Like this guy. I mean, I don't really wake up. I don't know if like I woke up right before I hit the ground or like because I never remember like hitting the ground, but maybe this like. The sudden waking up.
Mine were never ever hitting the ground. It was always just eventually I'd wake myself up.
Yes. Is that me?
I'm receiving a call. But you can just ignore that.
All right.
How impolite of me.
I also had. Yeah, because you said you were falling and nothing at all.
Just like a void.
Yes, I shit. Totally lost my train of thought.
I know.
Didn't you have this one where you had a Bionicle dream too? Didn't you once? I remember.
See, I don't remember them like you do.
You had one that you're like, I remember because in school you're like, I actually remembered one, and it was like Bionicles and a gold mine, and that's all I remember from what you're telling me.
I'm sure you're right.
Yes.
I'm bad at remembering these kinds of things. I should really start like one of those journals because I'm kind of curious. Especially, well, now they've kind of stopped, but for a while, like after I moved, I kept having like home invasion nightmares and like just really, really, really dark stuff. And now they kind of stopped, but I was kind of worried about myself. Maybe I worked through whatever my subconscious was trying to work through.
Actually, now I'm thinking about it. I've had a couple of dreams where I'm like, just like, so like fairly normal, like out in a city though, and I just like. And these are like falling from like 30, 50 feet, and then hitting the ground and being like, wow, this really hurts in the dream.
Ugh. I don't think have you seen In Bruges?
No.
Okay, well there's a scene towards the end of that movie, like the climax of it, where somebody falls out of like a clock tower.
Oof, rough.
And it's really bad. It's really gory because he doesn't die from the fall, but he's got like bones sticking out and like part of his face is all like crushed in. It's like his jaw is broken. Oh, it's nasty. Burned into my brain.
Yes. And so I'm trying to think. I have a bunch of random dreams that I like. I usually try to like tell someone because if I can usually tell someone, then I can usually remember it myself.
Sure. I had a couple recently about my mother. One, she was really upset with me about something, and I just felt like she was being completely irrational, but I couldn't convince. It was like something like she wanted me to do something, or I was supposed to be somewhere and I wasn't doing it, but I had already done it. One of those, and it was just really frustrating. Yeah. And I don't have like any issues with my mom, so I don't know where that came from either.
I remember. Okay, now I remember one recently. That I had like maybe a month ago. So I'm on like one of those like, those like when you see mechanics own their cars, like those little carts.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm on kind of like one of those on the highway from like the mall to Walmart, right? That kind of like going up that bridge, right?
Right. Yeah.
I'm going up a bridge in traffic, this on the scooter, just like with my hands, just going. And so then I get to that left-hand turn, and just basically sled down on this cart.
Were you excited about this?
I was super psyched, and I was like thrill-seeking in my dream, just like sledding down roads on a cart.
All right.
And I was like it was sledding because I was on my chest, just having a good time. And so I did this multiple times at multiple locations.
In the same dream?
In the same dream. But every time like the scene switched, Don's sister Marianne just was giving me dating advice just over text. Like I was dreaming texts from Marianne about dating advice. It's like, right. Be yourself, just be honest, and it was just like that kind of stuff. Just intercut with this me like just daredevil carting down hills.
Jackassing?
Yes.
Interesting. Yeah, your dreams are way more fun than mine.
And so like the cars were all pissed about it, and one time I was like racing up the hill.
That's what I was gonna ask, because if there was cars like, around.
Yeah, cars were, and I was like doing like the skids on like, and I was just like total like video game style, just like skating and riding the rails.
Interesting.
And that is probably the most recent I remember, and I can somehow trigger another memory. I'm sure I've dreamed since. That's been the most recent one. Yeah, most of my dreams are not really depressing. Which is good, because then I like dreaming.
Yeah.
And all of my dreams that I had when I was younger that were scarier were always happened to my little brothers too. So I don't know if that's just like being the oldest, an offensive thing, but it was always like stuff happening to them. A lot of times, it was supernatural stuff like trolls or magic. But
well, you've always talked about before, like being very, very protective of your brothers, and so that's probably where that comes from.
Yes, I think it's
that one of all of them makes sense. Yes. I think,
yeah. And it's a lot of it's like like I'm not overly protective in person with my brothers.
Yeah, but like it's something that you think about in the back of your mind, and so it makes sense that you dream about it.
Yeah, the best example I give is we went to. Do they know kind of where we are in the country?
I don't know.
Okay. Anyways, we went to a museum, a big one, and you and I went there for school.
I mean, you could say like the state. I wouldn't get more specific than that.
Well, you and I went to the Chicago Museum of Science and Industry.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
We live in Chicago.
Yes, look at this place.
Shh.
So we went there, right? Like maybe it was like a year or less prior. My family went, and I remember just thinking how much way more relaxed I was going with school, just because I didn't have to, like realizing like I was like stressed out about like keeping like because at that time I had 3 little brothers, so I'm like wanting like mom and dad doing their thing with the youngest, and like all the kids stay together, being really uptight about that kind of stuff.
Sure, yeah, that makes sense though,
and that makes more sense than some of the Cthulhu and the Bionicles source of power and personality. Yeah, because I've had the lucid dreams. I wish I've had another lucid dream that was more fantasy. I can't remember really what happened, but I remember just like I'm gonna go. I realize I'm dreaming, but I could just like watch I'm dreaming and like I'm gonna go. I can't remember if it's like I'm gonna go along with what happens, or if I'm just like I realize I'm dreaming, but I'm also slightly removed from it.
Interesting.
Because my dreams also a lot of times like shift perspectives like all the time, so it's not like I'm in my head all the time. A lot of times I can watch myself, watch other things that are not me, from a bunch of different angles and stuff too.
Interesting.
Yeah, like when we went through the bubble, right, in the Bionicle Dream,
Mm-hmm.
like I was watching that from outside the spaceship, like watch.
So
the
it was
ship.
more like a movie.
Yes,
Like,
watch,
yeah, like from a different perspective.
Yeah, from like an outside perspective, watch it like bloop through.
Mm-hmm. Cinematic.
Yes.
Speaking of cinematic, have you seen any good movies lately?
I liked Bumblebee.
I actually did want to talk about that. I didn't think we should really do a whole video on it, especially because I haven't seen it, and I've heard it's good. I don't know that I want to pay to watch it.
It was good,
but I was kind of curious if you wanted to elaborate on that.
I'm also a fan of Transformers, not the Michael Bay movies, but it was Transformers. Having watched a lot of cartoons, and the animation was amazing. It was so good. The CGI.
In this new one?
In this new one.
Really?
Yes. Partly because...
Is it... Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Well, it's Industrial Light and Magic, so it's good.
Oh, all right.
And I guess, like, it's probably not technically any better than the old ones, because the old ones have really good CGI, but the main thing with this is, like, the character design actually looks like the Transformers, like, from the cartoons, and they look like... They transform into cars because, like, as the movies progress, they get more and more robot and like smaller and smaller pieces, and so they don't like you can't see like the car parts on them anymore.
Sure.
Along with that, the movement, the video. I don't know if it was like video capture or what was different, but like how the Transformer action was filmed, and even in human form, was way different looking.
Interesting.
And it was choreographed in such a way where we could see fight scenes. And like you actually,
oh my gosh!
Like you could watch Bumblebee like do martial arts on the other Transformers.
Wow!
And like see it and recognize it from martial arts.
Interesting.
Yes.
So going back to the CGI thing, do you think it's also because they were a little more sparing with it, and it wasn't just everything is CGI?
I think so. In the intro is all Cybertron.
That's the planet.
Yeah, it's the planet. It's the entire it's the Transformers.
I want a golden star for that.
Yes, but they look like the toys and brought the cartoons brought to life, and like they kind of moved like they did in the cartoons too. Like I mean, updated, but it still like felt like this is what Transformers is. And just
this was Michael Bay at all involved with this one?
I think he was like a producer, but he was in this one he was a very uninvolved producer.
Okay, so that would explain a lot.
Yes.
So it wasn't that Michael Bay has learned a lesson; it's that someone learned a lesson about Michael Bay,
yes.
and they're like, "Listen, we're going to take this in a little bit different direction."
Yeah, and it was left up enough where it could potentially tie into the Michael Bay movies, but it's really not gonna. It can be its own thing.
Do a reboot or whatever. Yeah. Because it is. I mean, it's kind of a prequel.
It is a prequel. It's set in the '87. And so anyways, the relation, like it was a girl and her Bumblebee, and so it was just like a couple people knew. It was a very small story.
I was gonna say it seemed like a lot smaller.
There was
story.
Bumblebee, two bad Transformers, which I don't remember their names, but they were the main villains.
Don't remember them.
There were two Decepticons. Then there was Blitzwing, who he fights at the beginning, and there was Optimus Prime. Those were like the only real name Transformers. There were some like background Transformers and some other named ones that you see on Cybertron, but on Earth, it's just the four, and then Optimus Prime is the fifth.
So it's very different than a Michael Bay Transformer movie.
Much smaller, yes.
Is it bad that you're making me kind of want to watch it?
No, it's good. There's like, it is still like there's like I don't know. There's just like bad movies and good movies and just a movie. It's still just a movie, but it's like probably like the best just a movie of the year.
Sure.
Which I think again I'm getting that from I think the Weekly Planet, but it is probably like the best.
No, it's a completely original thought
yes.
that Bradley had all on his own, independently of any other source.
I'm getting like the terminology from them, but it was I think just like
no, I can understand that. Just like it was a movie,
but it was very good. Yes. And I don't know. I think it should win the visual something or another. I'm trying to think of what other visual ones there are.
I don't know.
Because there's nothing that's like that fantastically visual that I can think of this year. I mean, Infinity War would be the best. Because Black Panther had some CGI Rhino issues.
Black Panther in general had some bad green screen and bad CGI suits.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Like that whole fight scene toward the end between him and Killmonger is it's
yes, and
it's a little
yes.
fake looking.
But yeah, the Transformers, they looked really good.
Cool. I've never actually watched a whole Transformers movie.
Yes, and so like again, it opens on Cybertron, right? And so Aiden's sitting next to me, my brother, and he just like, being the crude, 16-year-old he is, he just leans over and is like, jizz in pants, and just like fakes like an orgasm after watching after the scene, because it was amazing. It was a really good scene, but it was also just kind of him being dumb. And I haven't seen Aquaman yet, though. I'll probably see that with him soon.
Yeah, that one I definitely don't care to see.
I
I like Jason
hear...
Momoa, but specifically from Atlantis, Stargate Atlantis.
Oh, was he in that?
Oh yeah, he's an Atlantean.
Oh.
Yeah. So, well, no, actually, technically, before you correct me, all you fans, he's not an Atlantean. He's a Cetedan, but he is in Atlantis. But yeah, I just think that's funny. Yeah, and he's very much like the same person. Whenever he's just a muscly dude that's cranky about everything. I guess he's a little more fun loving in Aquaman, but
I heard that one looks amazing, but there's just too much going on.
Yeah, I watched like a couple reviews just because I was kind of curious. Yeah. Again, I'll watch it eventually, but it's one of those things where it's like just a movie to me, and even if it is okay or better than regular DC movies, I don't want to pay $10, $8 or whatever to go see it because.
No, I probably wouldn't have seen it except for Aiden and I go see movies fairly regular, and I get a free ticket. I go enough that I.
Because you're one of the last people who uses the Movie Pass.
No, it's AMC. I use AMC's one. Movie Pass is dying. AMC is going pretty well because they actually have a sustainable model.
Oh my! Take notes, Movie Pass.
Well, Movie Pass is dead.
No, they're hemorrhaging money like nobody's business.
Because their original business plan was for $10 a month you can see as many movies as you possibly can.
Which is insane. Like
yes. And so people were doing it. It's now AMC is just it's $20 a month for 3 movies a week, and I cannot get 3 movies a week.
No.
I mean, I could like put more effort in, but I'm still getting my money's worth. So I'm like, there's no point. I'm getting my money's worth, so I'm glad for that.
Sure. Yeah.
And so I do see a few more movies than I would have otherwise, but.
But yeah, no, I heard it's not bad, but there's a lot going on.
Yeah, like there's 3 movies in one.
Yeah, that was kind of, but I don't know. I think DC should just reboot themselves and just be done with it.
Problem is like Wonder Woman did good, and I think Aquaman is doing well. People are liking Aquaman.
I would still rather they reboot the universe, even if they keep Jason Momoa and Gal Gadot.
I don't remember.
I honestly don't know how you say it. Even if they keep the actors and whatever, that's fine. But if they just like bomb the timeline and start over, because it's like, I mean, like Suicide Squad, like all those, any of the world building that they've done is just absolute dog shit. Yeah, I know. Like it's terrible. And so even when they make movies that are like, this wasn't so bad, the world that these characters exist in is not one that I care about or want to see.
But now they're gonna start doing like Elseworld stuff with like the Joker movie.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. Is like they're just like cramming so much stuff in. Where like Marvel, hate to compare it to Marvel, but Marvel has paced themselves out with like, here's a couple solo movies that are pretty small in scale. And then we have some, a few crossovers. We have some new, character cameos. We slowly build, and then we have the Avengers movies, which is like the big get-togethers where it's like a world-ending disaster or whatever. Which I guess a lot of them kind of have the world-ending thing. But the point is, like, they've done it really well, which is why it's been allowed to exist for 20-some movies, because they've been very, very careful not to like contradict themselves and everything. Like, there's been a few things, but
how well they've kept the universe together with all the different creative input.
Well, even just with like, tons and tons of different actors and everything. Like it's a pretty huge achievement. Yeah. And DC is just like half cocked, just like.
Well, they started way too late and have been playing catch up.
But that's not an excuse. No,
it's not.
That's stupid. Why would you do that?
Yes.
But even on top of that, they made tons of terrible decisions, like the Flash's costume owner. Like, there's so many weird decisions that have been made.
Yeah.
Just have it be a kid who wears a spandex costume. It's fine.
No, I would like a different style look. And then they can reboot it with a new style.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Get rid of like the dark and gloomy. Like, you can have dark and gloomy. That's fine. You can have dramatic. Like, Infinity War is pretty dark as a Marvel movie, but they have more lighthearted ones. And it's all about balance. Like, you can have your big world-ending disaster have a darker tone to it. That's fine. Like Civil War, that was a bit darker. But every movie can't be doom and gloom.
Yeah.
My parents are dead.
Yeah.
Because it's just it's not fun to watch. I mean, even like Batman v Superman, it's just
I'd
a
love
pain to
some,
watch.
see some adventures, like some fun time adventures,
Especially with characters like the Flash. Like, they're more lighthearted.
Which is what's happening now,
characters.
because with like Aquaman and Shazam and even Wonder Woman, like they're starting to course correct the problem.
Yeah.
The problem is the baggage that they have.
Yeah.
I think they're in the right direction, and if they had started a bit better, the problem is like they have a lot of baggage from the universe that they have.
Yeah, and you're right. They have. I mean, they haven't completely turned it around, but they have done some things to improve the problem. Like, Wonder Woman wasn't that bad.
Justice League was just
Justice League was awkward.
The problem with Justice League is it's a Justice League movie, and it was just fine. It was fine. It was
and like
it was acceptable.
A Justice League movie should have been something that people wanted to see.
Yes, Justice League is more nuts than the Avengers. It should have been more nuts than the Avengers.
Well, and I mean, I think you are too, a fan of DC more than Marvel, but DC's movie properties are just terrible.
Yes.
Other than like the Dark Knight trilogy, but I don't really include that because it's Batman, but it's its own category. It's not DC Batman. It's realistic Batman. It's its own thing, and it's great and it's fine all by itself.
The only thing I'm a bigger fan of from Marvel is live action movies. Everything else I tilt DC.
Yeah, exactly, and that's I feel the same way.
Though I do like Marvel stuff, obviously. And I've read comics and watched the shows.
Yeah, I don't dislike Marvel. But yeah, I was gonna say even like the Shazam trailer seemed a lot more fun.
Yes.
Like, because it'd be so awkward to play it completely straight. A movie about a kid who can say Shazam and become an adult with magical powers in red spandex. Like, so I appreciate that they're doing that. That one doesn't look as. I mean, I don't really care, but the real Captain Marvel. But I still like. I really want to like DC. DC does good animated stuff, like
other cartoon movies and TV shows are all pretty good.
Like Flashpoint's really good. I like Flashpoint.
That's good. The CW is starting to go off the rails, but it's been
off the rails for a long time.
Oh, I know.
Since what, like season 3 of Arrow?
No, I'd say like season 5 of Arrow.
How many seasons are there now?
Like 7.
I've just completely quit paying attention.
Yeah, because I watched through season 3 of The Flash. So I might have seen.
I don't even think I've seen all of season 2. And The Flash was my favorite of all of them.
Yeah.
But then it just got really, really repetitive.
Yes.
And
so I watched. So I think it was season 3 of Flash, season 6 of Arrow, and seasons 2 of Supergirl, and season 2 of maybe it was season 3 of Supergirl. Anyways, whatever year season 3 with of The Flash was, is when I stopped watching. I finished all the shows up to that point. And so I could go back in at a nice spot to start, but I don't want to because there's just enough other stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
And once I finish Always Sunny in Philadelphia, I will watch Atlanta.
That's a very different thing.
Yes.
No, Atlanta's really good. Nate finally finished it.
Yeah,
so
well, it's on Hulu, and I saw that it was on Hulu.
No one has any excuses anymore.
Yes.
Yeah, if people haven't seen it, Atlanta, it's really, really good. And I don't even know how to describe it. Have you watched any of it?
Nope.
Okay, yeah. It's very weird because it's like there are technically characters and like the things those characters like carry over from episode to episode, but other than that it feels almost like an anthology where like each episode is its own like singular story
Yeah.
with its own singular message that it's sending.
Yep.
Even though the characters are the same, I would say it's basically an anthology series. And it's like, I don't know if this is true. I could be completely wrong, but I heard a rumor that when Donald Glover was like pitching it, he completely lied about it because he knew no network would ever like pick it up because it's just very. I mean, there's a whole episode about one of the characters trying to get a haircut. That's an entire episode of a show, and so
just half hour, 45 minutes.
45, I think.
Okay.
Yeah,
like the hour TV segment.
Yeah, the hour TV segments.
Yeah, because I saw it on I don't know. I saw it when it was first came out, and in the review, like the synopsis that's like on IMDb or whatever, it plays it completely straight. Just like a rapper struggles to become famous in the Atlanta music scene.
Atlanta rap scene,
and I'm like, nothing. I'm not interested in that at all. And then like
it sounds like an HBO drama or something,
Yeah,
but when you watch it, it's like completely different, and it's like dark comedy because there's a lot of like, I don't know how to describe it. And there's a lot of like I said, like concept episodes. And it reminds me of Community. Obviously, it's not nearly as funny as Community. I shouldn't say it's not funny. It's a lot darker than Community, obviously. But it has a lot of that same where like Community, even though it was about people going to a community college, there's a lot of concept episodes where they'll do things that are like really meta or just like they have the framework in order to be able to do that. Just have an episode where everyone, where the whole school has a paintball fight and play it, not like completely straight. And so it's kind of like that, obviously less ridiculous, but, no, I really like it. And there's a lot, and like I said, like each episode feels like its own thing, which is why it's interesting, but Donald Glover can do no wrong.
Lando.
Well, he's a fine Lando.
I haven't seen him yet. I mean,
you haven't seen Solo.
I haven't.
He's a fine Lando. At least he's trying to be Lando. What's his name? Alden Einrich.
Yeah.
Alden Einrich.
Yeah.
Is that it? Whatever. The guy who plays Han Solo is not trying at all. Like he doesn't even try to do the voice and like.
Is it one of those where like he tries to capture the essence without doing an imitation, or not even?
I doubt it. I doubt that. I doubt that very much.
That's kind of what it was with for Bohemian Rhapsody, the Queen movie. Was like he looked like him, but he wasn't exactly right. I think his eye color was different. And there's like some differences, but it's like trying to capture the essence of the character opposed to do an imitation.
I need to watch that. That's really high on the IMDb list.
It's very good.
It's like 150 or something, which. I mean, that's not really high, I guess, but...
liked it. I was I went to see it by myself, because I was like, I think it was a Friday, and I went to see like the 10 o'clock showing. I'm like, I'm not tired. I'm just going to go watch a movie. And this was like a couple weeks after I'd broken up with Brie, so it was pretty new still. So like, I'm going to go watch a movie. And I just did, and I was like, and I went out, and coming out of it, like, because with it's Freddie Mercury's story that he dies of AIDS.
Yeah.
So that's not in the movie, obviously, but... him dying of AIDS. He gets AIDS in the movie.
Yeah, sure.
But I came out of it still feeling like super upbeat, and like, pumped.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I liked it. I mean, obviously, there's a ton of good music in it.
Obviously.
Well, I'm trying to think what else. I haven't seen anything else really in a while. Just a lot of Always Sunny.
That's good.
Yes.
Bradley's behind on the Always Sunny.
I just don't watch. I'm really slow to watch stuff, or very quick. One or the other.
No in between.
There is no in between, because I binged like. I think I was working and going to school, and I still got Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood done in a week.
That's because it's just so good.
Yes, but then like, and that's with a bunch of stuff. But then on the other hand, took me like a year and a half to watch one season of Supernatural.
Yeah.
And I'm doing pretty good for Always Sunny.
Yeah, you are. You're doing remarkably well, I would say. If I had to grade you.
Yes.
I haven't really been into any movies. I mean, Spider-Man. We went and saw Spider-Man. But Amazon Prime, 10 out of 10.
I've been doing all this. Yeah, Always Sunny has been my media. Because I haven't done video games or movies really. And then I've been trying to read. So I have to actually. I've got through like the pre-book stuff for the Lord of the Rings. I just haven't started the actual book yet.
Yeah, I should reread those again. It's
Partly
been
because
long
I know
enough.
partly because I've audiobooked them a bunch of times.
Yeah.
But partly because I know that it's going to be an endeavor to finish the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, it's a hefty boy.
Yes.
It's a thick boy. Yeah, I've been wanting to reread like The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings again because it's been long enough that
I can't decide. And I know we don't have enough fans to put it to a poll.
Yeah, comment below.
If I should buy like the pairing of the Silmarillion and the Hobbit next, or I should buy the History of Middle Earth big set.
I'll comment on the video.
All right,
Watch out for that.
Because I can't decide between those two because I have the deluxe, like I said, and they all come in the same like binding style, just with different colors.
Mm-hmm.
So the Hobbit is a green and Silmarillion is a blue, and then the Lord of the Rings is red, and then the History of Middle Earth has 3 big volumes, like as big as the one.
Oh,
Lord of the Rings, there's like 3 of those. It's like 5,000 pages. The History of Middle Earth is, and that's like an encyclopedia, like reference book. There's not like stories in it, but and that's black, and I can't decide if I want to get. And that's the most expensive single set book.
Mm-hmm.
It's the biggest,
Right.
so I can't decide if I want to get that or pair Silmarillion and Hobbit together because those are the next 2 like most complete stories.
Sure. Mm-hmm. Interesting.
And now like I have money from Christmas and birthday and things have come in where I could like do it now.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to decide. And eventually I have the full collection. Maybe we'll have it up here. Probably not because it's going to be too much work. I don't want to leave them here.
Break the shelf.
Yeah, I would love to have that full set.
Yeah, that'd
I
be
think
nice.
even like his other books, like he did Beowulf.
Yep. That was like his first thing is he translated Beowulf.
Yes.
From I don't remember what language.
Old English? Or was it Norse?
No, I don't remember. I'm not going to even try because I'm going to be wrong. But yeah, he translated it. And that was like his first big thing.
Okay.
As he translated Beowulf.
Was it not translated before then?
Again, I'm not going to say things because I'm probably going to be wrong.
Yeah.
If only Don was here, he would know.
Yes.
But yeah, I know that was a big deal. He didn't really write much else besides.
He had a couple of smaller books. And
yeah, but like the Lord of the Rings was his big
his thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think
and his failed time travel book.
Yes. But I think the Beowulf comes in that binding style too.
Does it?
Yeah.
I can't remember if I read the actual Beowulf. It was probably still an abridged version, but it's pretty interesting.
But yeah.
It's pretty good.
So I'm gonna at least get all the Middle Earth stuff, but maybe I'll expand all my Tolkien collection. And I saw that because I was at BAM, the bookstore, before the lunch or the dinner at work yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
and the Hobbit was there's a translation into Latin of the Hobbit, and I was like,
Why?
I don't know, it was just there, and I'm like, what the hell is this? It's like Hobbitus ill is what it's like.
All right.
And it has like the V, that's the U in Latin.
Uh huh.
And I'm like, what the heck is this? And I open it up and like just like to
Weird.
to a random page, and it's just all gibberish to me. And so I'm like, what? And I close it and I read the rest of the cover, and all that's in English is The Hobbit translated into Latin by X, and the rest of the cover is all in Latin.
Weird.
And so I'm like trying to find English, just so I can figure out what.
Desperately searching for English in a Latin book.
Trying to find English, just like, what is this?
Right, yeah. Interesting. I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, I didn't either, but it's just. And I only saw The Hobbit as well, so I didn't even see like Lord of the Rings. So it was
Weird.
odd. Yeah.
I mean, The Hobbit's a lot shorter, so I guess that makes sense.
I also saw an interesting Hobbit edition of The Hobbit there, and it was like the annotated Hobbit, so like the pages were like double as wide as they needed to be,
Mm-hmm.
and then like maybe even like half of that was not the Hobbit itself, with annotations and drawings from illustrations and all sorts of other stuff, like the companion guide. Because you can
Interesting.
Because with Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, there are companion readers for both of them as well.
Sure. Tune in next week when we talk about all the different versions of the Middle Earth books.
Yes.
Starting with the original and coming up to now.
Yes. Which I really like. I want to keep reading those and collect them all. Gotta collect them all.
Gotta collect them all. Yeah.
Should we outro?
Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah, we've been talking a while, and we have like 4 segments of just random stuff. So,
well, if anyone's watching this, thank you. This has been the Echo Chamber Podcast.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.